traditional political battles he won't wage in on. So I think it's going to be non-traditional for President Obama as well.
John King, you see the motorcade moving now from the St. John's Episcopal Church. They'll be driving around Lafayette Park, heading towards the north lawn, the north side of the White House. We will watch this. All of us have been former White House correspondents. We know that area very well.
And we've been through this remarkable day. And President Obama, as we discussed earlier, gave great credit to George W. Bush, said despite you're handing over the White House from a Republican to the Democrats, that George W. Bush was so personally and professional about the transition. Obama said that's the model he wanted to follow. And we've heard Donald Trump
there they are. The Vice President Joe Biden is there with Dr. Jill Biden. They'll be receiving Mike Pence. Let's listen in as this happens. Getting ready for part two. The Vice President-elect has arrived, and the outgoing Vice President has received him, and now we'll wait for the President-elect to arrive, and then the President of the United States will receive.
Well, if I may, when I interviewed Mike Pence a couple of days ago, he was telling me privately how, this is not going to surprise anybody, how gracious the Bidens have been. He was with his daughter Charlotte, and she is in her early 20s. She is going to live in the residence at the Naval Observatory where the Vice President will be. Of course, Vice Presidents live. And I said, have you seen your room yet? And she said, oh yeah, the Bidens have let us in, have let us, check out where we're going to be and living. And again, they said they have just been, not surprisingly, so wonderful to the incoming Vice President and his family.
It occurs to me of seeing this massive motorcade, and obviously once you become popular enough, you get Secret Service protection, and once you become a nominee, it really increases even more significantly, let alone president-elect.
There's the President and the First Lady.
Wow.
They're at the red carpet over there. They're going to be receiving the President-elect of the United States and the next First Lady of the United States. This will be a moment. You know what? Let's see if we can listen.
Classic.
How are you?
and First Lady, the incoming president-elect. That was, Jake, a pretty amazing shot when you think about the history of these four individuals and this very majestic transfer of power here in the United States.
A lot of water under the bridge in terms of things that have been said, particularly by the president-elect about the outgoing president, Barack Obama. But they are both being incredibly gracious and graceful before the cameras, especially. But we're told also behind the cameras it has been a relationship where President Obama has really done everything he could to try to help the transition, to try to smooth the waters, and have this be as peaceful and as constructive a transition as possible. And President-elect Trump has said that it's gone great, and their relationship couldn't be better.
He immediately, President Obama, accepted the results of the election on November 8th and began this very smooth transition at their level, although some of their aides at lower levels, not necessarily all that smooth, but at the top levels, very impressive.
That's right, all the way leading up to this very moment that we saw. And I just have to say, for viewers at home, I'm sure a lot of people saw what happened. It's a first test and a first reality of the cameras being on you. And you heard President Obama joke about the fact that you got to learn this protocol. This is what happens. When Melania kind of went in for a shake and Michelle Obama went in for a hug, it was a little kind of get to know you that could very well happen to any of us in private, except they're going to have very few of those moments, especially when it comes to this.
John, this is where they receive, yes, a president of the United States, a first lady of the United States, the North Portico of the White House.
Right, and so you see, again, Jake just went through the history. There's a bit of an awkward moment when you see the greeting here and the hug and all that, but the world is watching this. Everybody in the country is watching this. A lot of Democrats who are mad about this are watching this, and they see their president leaving office after 8 years saying, hey, this is important. The symbolism of this is absolutely critical. And to the point Jake was making earlier about the relationship, this is one of the more fascinating questions, I think, because President-elect Trump has repeatedly said how grateful he is for the president's not only the support with the nuts and bolts of the transition, but for his advice. Conservatives have cringed sometimes when Donald Trump has said, I'm going to look at some things. He's given me some advice, and we're going to keep in touch. We'll see if that happens. But Barack Obama is about to join one of the most exclusive clubs in the world. Most of the living ex-presidents will be here. George H.W. Bush, not in good health to be here, but President Carter will be here. President Clinton, President George W. Bush. Barack Obama joins that club now, as Jake noted, to stay here in Washington. We don't learn about most of the conversations presidents have with ex-presidents on big national security questions, on other questions. It will be interesting to see over the course of the relationship whether Donald Trump actually reaches out to Barack Obama. Seems unlikely, and yet, because he is new to Washington, new to this, and they have struck up some kind of relationship. I'm told that when they were in the room together, when Donald Trump first came to the White House, he jokingly said to President Obama, I want to learn the secret of how you keep your approval rating up. Said a lighthearted way. I don't want to make too much of it. Just as the small talk of getting to know each other. Just one of many fascinating questions about not only how does the new president govern, but what does a young ex-president, Barack Obama, especially since he's staying so close here while his daughter finishes school, how public and how much does he actually communicate with the new guy?
And talk about popularity, there's nobody more popular right now than Michelle Obama. And she used that. She used that shit over and over again in the campaign, at the end of the campaign, to try to help Hillary Clinton to make her the successor to her husband and to continue her husband's legacy. And there's probably no one in the Obama family who has been, maybe the daughters, but I would venture to say that Michelle Obama has probably been the most frustrated by what...
There's a former President Bush and Laura Bush, by the way, not in this car that you see in front, right in the back seat. There you see Laura Bush, the former First Lady, and President Bush on the other side. They are here, and as we've been pointing out, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, they will be here as well as Jimmy Carter, who has gone through some medical issues, but he's going to be here as well. So a lot of history, and John King, Jake, makes a really important point. The whole world is watching right now. But let me quickly go to Jeff Zeleny, because he's right near where Laura and George Bush are. Jeff, set the scene for us.
I am indeed, Wolf. We're on the east front of the Capitol here, where George W. Bush and Laura Bush are sitting in an SUV. They're waiting. There's actually a bit of a motorcade backup here, as several VIPs are preparing to come to the Capitol for this event today. We saw former Vice President Dan Quayle entered just a short time ago with the Bushes there, sitting there watching and waiting for all this. Of course, it was 8 years ago when the Bushes climbed into the helicopter and went off on their way. And now, since there is such a backup here, they are getting out and waving there, as you can see, because quite simply there are so many VIPs. And we're very close to the former president here. We may try and get a moment here to ask him a question or say something here. But Wolf, this is a moment here in time where he is coming back to the Capitol. Hold on one moment. Mr. President, what do you think about today? Mr. President, how's your father doing? Is he feeling better? How's your mother doing? What do you think about today, Mr. President? You were here 8 years ago. So, Wolf, we're just seeing the former presidents, Bush and Mrs. Bush, going in. He said his parents are doing better. His mother and father are doing better. He did not answer a question about Donald Trump, or what he thinks about today. But again, we are reminded here of the history and this moment when he is returning to the Capitol 8 years ago after he flew away and took his leave back to Texas. Wolf?
Get ready, because Hillary and Bill Clinton, they'll be showing up fairly soon as well. There you see the helicopter that will be taking the soon-to-be ex-president of the United States out of the Capitol, heading to Joint Base Andrews and flying off to California.
You know, it is not uncontroversial that people like Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton are coming today. There are liberals, there are progressives, there are Democrats who are furious with them. They say that they are normalizing President-elect Trump. And yet, I have to say that whether it's George W. Bush and Laura Bush, who I think made it pretty clear that they were not supporting President-elect Trump during the campaign, or Jimmy Carter or Bill Clinton, they all feel their reason for being here is that they are being patriots. Mm-hmm. They are putting the country ahead of their own personal feelings. And I think this also has to do with how we've seen President Obama behaving in the last couple months. He could have been, they were watching again the video from a few moments ago.
You go right here. The moment indeed, Jake, that really symbolizes this transfer of power here in Washington.
And not to put too fine a point on it, but Donald Trump led an effort to suggest that Barack Obama was born in Africa. A false claim, a lie. And there you see Barack Obama putting that aside. I'm not going to let that bother me. This man was a chosen president freely and fairly by the American people.
Eric Trump, the son, and his family arriving. These are VIPs, Jake, who are arriving right now at the Capitol for this inaugural event.
Eric wife and his wife Laura, and there's Don Jr. I believe they have 5 kids.
They
Don
do.
Jr.
I think those are his 2 oldest kids, Don the third and Kai.
Now let's listen to
There's Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner walking in. Donald Trump Jr., an avid and active outdoorsman.
It's Tiffany Trump, the younger daughter. We're going to continue to watch this very closely. Let's take a quick break. We're getting ready for the inauguration to get moving up here on Capitol Hill. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.